Welcome to the Relaunch Your Career podcast. I am your host, Leah Lambart, career and interview coach and founder of Relaunch Me, where we help you find the work that you were meant to do. Welcome to the Relaunch Your Career podcast. I'm your host, Leah Lambart, career and interview coach and founder of Relaunch Me. Today, we're diving into a topic that unfortunately is becoming far too common in the current job market, and that is redundancy. If you've recently been made redundant, or if you know someone who has, I want you to know that you are not alone. It can be an incredibly difficult and emotional time. I often describe it as a roller coaster of emotions. There's often a sense of shock, grief, and real loss when you perhaps first receive the news. And then this can spiral into anger, frustration, a sense of, that isn't fair, and real fear about the unknown. For some people, it is actually relief. Often they are potentially thinking about a different job for some time, and they're actually quite relieved and quite happy to get a little payout. So these feelings are completely valid and they're different for everyone. So for those of you who may have been made redundant with colleagues or often even a large group of people, I would encourage you not to compare yourself to how other people are feeling. Everyone experiences redundancy differently. It very much depends on your personality type, how adaptable you are, what's happening in your personal life, your commitments outside of work, and also everyone's at different stages of their career and life. So I would encourage you to process the feelings. They are valid, whatever they are, and don't compare yourself to others who may not be feeling the same experience that you're going through. And so today's episode, I'm going to share some practical steps that you can take if you have just been made redundant that will allow you to regain a sense of control and also give you the opportunity to reset, reflect, and potentially relaunch your career in a direction that truly feels right for you. So let's start with something that is really important. This is something I always say to clients when I'm working with them. Redundancy is a business decision. It's not a personal failure. Redundancy happens when your role is no longer required. It's nothing to do with whether you are valuable. In most cases, redundancy happen for situations that are completely out of your control as an employee. They usually take place due to a restructure, automation of roles. In more recent times, the introduction of AI to replace roles, offshoring or budget cuts, or possibly the organisation is simply moving in a new direction. I've coached hundreds of clients through redundancy, and I would say the hardest part is separating your self-worth from your job title. It would be natural for you to feel like your confidence has taken a hit, especially if you've been with the company for a long time. And this can really cause a lack of identity when you don't fit in that organisation and perhaps even have to leave social connections behind you. But the truth is your skills, your experience, your relationships, and your achievements are still there, and they can easily transition to other organisations and to other roles. In many cases, I've found that redundancy can be a circuit breaker for clients. It's often a moment to stop and take stock and really ask themselves, what do I really want next? What parts of my work have energized me and which parts have drained me? Which things do I perhaps never want to do again? I've worked with many clients who felt very distraught at the time, often a lot of tears in those sessions, only to email me 12 months later and let me know that it was the best thing that ever happened to them. So let's talk about those first few days after you receive the news, because in my experience, that's often when emotions run the highest. The first piece of advice I would say is to give yourself permission to pause, to grieve. You don't need to rush into updating your resume the next day. Take a few days to process what's happened. Get outside, go for walks, speak to some trusted friends or family. And if you do have the opportunity, take a little short break if you can. Often this allows you to put things into perspective. If you can find people who've been through similar experiences, it definitely helps to talk to people and to really process what's happened. Your experiences, as I said, and your feelings are valid. So there's no need to hide those. I think as any sense of loss, you need to go through a grieving process. The next step is to make sure you're clear on some of the practicalities of your redundancy package. You need to check what your payout is, any notice period that you're required to work out, any unused leave entitlements. If you're unsure, contact Fair Work Australia or a financial advisor who may be able to help you understand your entitlements, or speak to someone from HR in your organisation. The other practical thing you need to find out is what support might be available to you from a career transition support perspective. It's not a legal obligation, but many employers do offer outplacement or career transition support to help you navigate the next steps. Even if this hasn't been offered, in your discussions or negotiations, don't be afraid to ask your employer if they can provide you some career transition support. It's not uncommon for organisations to engage a career transition support provider or outplacement provider such as Relaunch Me to contribute between 1,000 to 3,000, often sometimes more if the employee's been with the organisation for a very long time. So it's absolutely worth asking this question, because even a very small outplacement package can provide you with access to working with a resume LinkedIn writer, some interview or job search coaching, or even some career coaching to help you get clear on your what next. The benefits of having this support up front and engaging professionals who write resumes and LinkedIn's every day is that it allows you to transition potentially to a new role a lot faster than if you're left to do all this work yourself. My other tip would be to not rush into any big decisions. You may get a job offer quite quickly. Potentially someone in your network may hear of your situation and reach out. I would encourage you not to jump into any big decisions when your emotions are still quite heightened, as your judgment could be clouded. So take time to reflect before you jump into accepting another opportunity or even applying for jobs until you're really clear on what you want to do. So once you've had a bit of breathing space, it's time to start taking back control. And once you start taking actions and working towards your next step, this is where we see often people start to feel a little bit more positive. They start to find that their mood starts to lift as they feel that they're starting to take one step at a time towards their next opportunity. So, a few practical things to begin the job search process. First of all, I would encourage you to spend that time to get really clear on what you want to do next. Think about what is your ideal next role, or maybe you have a couple of different roles that you're considering. What companies or brands would you like to work for in the future? What industries are you open to? And a big hint in the current job market is that you will have much more success applying for jobs and getting interviews if you apply for roles where you have had some previous experience in that industry. Once you are clearer on your target roles and target organizations, I would encourage you to put a target list of companies together. You can then do some research. LinkedIn's a great way to research them, obviously looking at their website or any media releases. Think about, what do you know about that organization? What challenges or problems may they be experiencing that you may be able to help them solve? Who do you know who works there? Do you have any mutual connections who work there? Once you are starting to get clear on these target companies, I would encourage you to set up some search alerts for the company name on LinkedIn and Seek. And if you do want to be more proactive, you could also potentially reach out directly to hiring managers, but this does require a strategic approach. If you would like help with taking a more strategic approach, send me an email and we can discuss how we might be able to help you with this. Once you've got some target roles and companies in mind, that's the next step, obviously, is to update your resume. I would encourage you very much to have a LinkedIn profile in the current market. And I'd also encourage you to update your Seek profile or to set up a Seek profile if you don't have one already. So just firstly, a few comments about updating your resume. A number of our other podcast episodes go into this in more detail, but you need to be aware that a lot of organizations are using applicant tracking systems. These are often referred to as an ATS. Basically, this is a recruitment technology system that is using AI to screen your resumes against keywords and criteria for that particular job. So it's really important that you tailor your resume where possible to the role that you're applying for, particularly from a skills perspective, but also including keywords from the job description or the job advertisement. If you are someone who is open to applying for a number of different types of roles, you will get a much better outcome if you have several different versions of resume. I know this sounds time-consuming and frustrating, but if you have the right structure, you can just change the pitch or your career summary, tailor the skills section, and reorder your responsibilities and achievements so that they're better tailored to that role. A little bit more time taken up front, but you will get a better outcome. Another thing I'll say with resumes, more often than not, when I review resumes, we see that the experience is very responsibility heavy. I would encourage you to try and rewrite your experience to have more of a focus on achievements, the value you've offered or brought to previous roles and previous organizations, and include measurable results where possible, whether they're qualitative or quantitative. A few comments about LinkedIn. Again, LinkedIn needs to be future focused. You need to really think about keyword optimization and tailoring your LinkedIn again for your future ideal role, not necessarily what you've done in the past. So what we want to see is a complete LinkedIn section. You definitely need a photo. You need to have an about section, which you need to add into your LinkedIn profile. And the about section needs to articulate your experience, the skills that you can bring to future roles. You can include a little bit of personal information if you do want to make it a little bit more lighthearted. But it needs to be very clear to potential employers or recruiters what you can offer. You can also go into the settings in LinkedIn and make yourself open to recruiters so that if recruiters are doing a search for someone with your background, then your profile will be highlighted as someone who's actively looking for a role. Another tip is thinking about drafting what I call an open to work template. This is not a resume, it's just a one-page document that you could then send out to your closest contacts in your network, letting them know what roles that you are seeking, your industry preferences, your location preferences, salary range, and a few key bullet points around what you can bring to a role. This makes it really easy for people in your network to match you to any opportunities that they hear about. So if you would like a copy of that template, feel free to email me and I'll send you a copy of that as well. And lastly, I would definitely also update your Seek profile. I've worked with a number of clients who've been approached by organizations by having an up-to-date Seek profile. So if you haven't got one of these already, log into Seek, set it up. You can update that with your target roles as well. Once you have all your documents ready to go, probably one of the most important things that you need to think about in the current job market is networking. and reconnecting with your network. So this might be past colleagues, mentors, clients that you've worked with in the past. Don't be afraid to let people know that you're exploring new opportunities. And to the open to work template, you can send to them and let them know exactly what you're looking for. Most people are genuinely interested in helping people, particularly people who've experienced redundancy. Many people have been through it themselves. So don't be afraid to reach out to people, let them know what you're looking for, and just ask them to keep you in mind. Obviously, you also want to connect with recruiters. So research recruiters that specialize in your role, function, or industry and send them a copy of your updated resume. Connect with them on LinkedIn and also let them know what you are looking for. And lastly, create some structure to your week. Job searching is like a job itself, and it can quickly become overwhelming if you are spending all day, every day looking for jobs. So I'd encourage you to treat it like a work day. Set some goals each day, set aside time for company research, set a goal for how many applications you want to apply for. I'd highly recommend looking at quality over quantity. You will get better outcomes if you spend, some time tailoring your resume, writing a cover letter, potentially doing some research on that organization and applying for 3 or 4 jobs a week rather than just sending a resume that's not tailored for 20 or 50 jobs. So quality over quantity, and really block out some time in your day for different activities. And most of all, give yourself a break. Get out and go for a walk, go for a run, go to the gym, walk the dog to keep your energy levels up, because the job search market, it is tough and there will be some hiccups and bumps and rejections. So if you can keep yourself energized outside of work, this will make you more resilient. So I hope that this episode has given you some tips and some structure if you are someone who has been made redundant. If you're not quite sure what direction to take next, this is where career coaching can make a difference. So feel free to contact us through the Relaunch Me website. You can go to the contact page and complete an inquiry form, or send me an email. My email address is Leah, Leah, at relaunchme.com.au. It's easy to see redundancy as the end of something, but I've seen it become the beginning of something far better for many clients. I've worked with so many people who were absolutely devastated at first, but 6 or 12 months later were really thriving in a completely new opportunity, often in roles that offer more flexibility, more meaning, and more alignment with who they really are. So although redundancy can be a really difficult pill to swallow, it can also give you the space to really rethink and what success looks like for you. Maybe you've already outgrown your previous role and maybe you just needed that little push to get you thinking about your next steps. Either way, this can be a real chance to redesign the next chapter and potentially relaunch your career in a direction that feels more authentic and energizing for you. So if you've just been made redundant, please remember you are not starting from scratch. You have many years of experience, skills, and attributes that you can bring to future roles. Reach out for support, whether that's through a coach, a mentor, or your professional or personal network. And most importantly, don't rush the process. The right next step will become clear when you give yourself the space to explore it. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with a friend who might need to hear it, and leave a review. It really helps us reach more people who are navigating similar challenges. I'm Leah Lambart, and this has been the Relaunch Your Career podcast. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember that redundancy might just be the push you need to relaunch a fabulous new career. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Relaunch Your Career. If you did, please subscribe, share with your friends, leave a review, or connect with us on social media at Relaunch Me Career Consulting. If you have any questions about the episode or the work that we do, then contact us via the website relaunchme.com.au. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.